It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, today I want to discuss Konica Minolta's latest bragging of themselves. They said they had 200 show sales at the DRUPA show. 200 show sales. I was like, wow, what the hell did they sell? I said, really? I start reading this article, and of course, there's no details on what they sold. There's no math or any kind of statistics. We sold so many of these machines, so many of these machines. No, they just said they had 200 show sales. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what the hell are they talking about? Here's what I'm thinking happened. They were copying resumes for €1. I mean, they got all these machines there. They had a little section over there somewhere in the booth, and they were copying people's resumes for €1. I guess 200 people came up and copied the resume. They could say they had 200 show sales. You see, Konica Minolta, if you don't give us any details, our imaginations kind of go crazy. But I'm thinking, you got all these machines there, and you wouldn't want to waste them, right? So, hey, we'll copy resumes for €1. And I'm thinking the Konica Minolta employees did get it for half price. I mean, seriously, right? Ladies and gentlemen, this is just insanity. Our friends over at Rico, they said they had 250 orders, if I read this right. I mean, I'm thinking, holy crap. Rico beat the crap out of Konica Minolta at the DRUPA show. And then I started thinking, could it come down to chargebacks or inability to deliver product to determine the winner? Because Konica Minolta and Rico, obviously they were having a contest. I'm wondering if there was a bell in the booth. Konica Minolta, maybe they copy somebody's resume. They ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding. And then the Rico booth, they're over there. Oh, my God, Konica just rang the bell. We got to sell something. Folks, what in the hell is our industry doing? Seriously? We can go out and start bragging about how many sales we sold at the show, but we don't have to share any kind of details of what we actually sold and who actually bought them. And we all know, I mean, come on, DRUPA. It's a lot of pent-up demand. Some of these folks already decided to buy years ago. They just showed up that day to buy them. I mean, come on. It's just so nutty. But here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to look at Konica Minolta's financials. That way, when we see their first quarter financials and their second quarter financials, we'll be able to tell, if they had any increase in sales based on the 200, sales they had at DRUPA, right? It's all about math. So I looked at the first quarter of FY 2023, and Konica Minolta did $47.7 million. We'll see where they come in. Did they get some of that stuff delivered? I mean, could you imagine? Somebody goes to the show floor, they buy the machine, and the Konica's like, get the truck here, get that thing delivered, get it in that customer's office so we can get that lease signed. Hopefully they weren't doing that, but sometimes you gotta wonder a little bit. But if you look at the whole year for 2023 for Konica Minolta, they only did $233.1 million in the total industrial print space. They're the smallest player. I gotta tell you, it's just amazing. You got Konica Minolta and Rico kind of bragging the loudest, and they're the smallest players. You got Konica Minolta bragging about how they had what was it? One of the 7th largest booths at DRUPA. We got the largest booth, one of the 7 largest booths, and we're the lowest revenue producer of all the booths here. I mean, it's just amazing to me. They did say that in Europe, Central Asia, and the Middle East and Africa, they did $2.3 billion in total revenue for all of Konica for the FY, which ended in March of 2024. And folks, I wanted to look at that and do a little bit of math. That means in that marketplace, it represents 30% of Konica Minolta's total business. $2.3 billion, the whole company did $7.4 billion. And then I started thinking about all the print business. All the print business was $5.6 billion. 30% of that is $1.7 billion all print for that European marketplace, right? That means they did $510 million in professional print if the 30% holds true. That means they only did $69.9 million in industrial print for the whole year. So it'd be interesting to see, how many European companies went to the DRUPA show and bought a bunch of machines from Konica Minolta. We should see an increase in the numbers anyway. But folks, I started thinking about if Konica knew that DRUPA was coming. And they did. I mean, everybody knew DRUPA was coming. That's all anybody talked about for like 2 years before it got there. And so I'm thinking they would have projected, right? Hey, we're going to have the 7th biggest booth at this meeting, and we're going to sell a whole lot of machines for big dollars. And they would have added, they would have put some projections out there to say, hey, we're going to sell a lot of crap. Not just what we normally sell. We're going to go way up and beyond. And I started looking at their projections. for FY 2024. And folks, they only raised the professional print business unit by $40.9 million. And that's the whole professional print business unit. You know, I got that crazy marketing services business in there. And then they got the low end production print in there. And then, of course, industrial print in there. But they only raised it by $40.9 million. They only raised the profit by $30.4 million. So it doesn't seem like they anticipated they were actually going to sell anything. I mean, at DRUPA, because those increase in projections from the year before are really most of that could be based on the Forex. They did talk about how they have some non-focused businesses in their financials, and they said that the marketing services, which is a category within the professional print business unit, is deconsolidating. It's a non-focused business. And I'm thinking, Konica, wait a second. Maybe you should focus on that business, because that business did over $100 million more in revenue for FY 2023. So the marketing services business does $354.5 million in business. Professional, or the industrial print business, only does $233.1 million. And they want to, it's a non-focused business, this $354.5 million. Maybe if they actually focused on it and made that profitable, they wouldn't have to sell the industrial print stuff. I mean, folks, it's just insane any way you look at Konica Financials financials. Just totally insane. I shared this. I want to share it again. How many of my Konica Minolta friends have called Fuji? Because we all know the Fuji, Konica Minolta, doing that, you know, kind of thinking about coming together to make machines. I think Fujifilm's thinking about buying all of Konica. You might as well reach out to Fujifilm now, get a jump start on it. Folks, just some things to think about. But at the end of the day, when these OEMs run around and talk about they sold so many sales at DRUPA, they ought to put some math behind it with some real details. Otherwise, it's just irrelevant nonsense. And everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.